What up, guys? Bench Buddies are back with my Week 4 NFL Power Rankings. Before I get into it, we talk about the biggest movers. Commanders, obviously one of those teams, moving up 10 spots after a huge win against the Bengals. Then the Niners moving down 7 spots because, well, they lost this game. Didn't think that was going to happen to the Rams because, they own them in the regular season the last few years. But unfortunately, the Niners just couldn't get it done. 32 through 29. No surprises here. You have your four worst teams right now. Titans, Jaguars, especially at 32 and 31. Patriots and Panthers actually got a win last week, but it's the Panthers. We can't move them up outrageously high because there are flukes as well. But the Patriots, didn't play well. Very bad showing there. Drake May, how long is it going to take for him to get some action? That's the big question there. Houston or Jaguars. I don't know how they're going to do the rest of the year, but if they continue to play like this, it's not looking too promising, and they might blow that whole thing up at the end of the year. Kind of same for the Titans. They might be still searching for a quarterback when it's all said and done. 28 through 25. The Giants move up because they did get a win last week in Cleveland, and that's why they're ahead of the Browns here. The Dolphins and the Bears surprisingly did not play well in this game to the Colts. And I was more shocked that the Bears lost this game than the Colts winning it, just because I think the Bears had more talent on the field. They just couldn't find a way to get it done. And I think coaching is a problem there in Chicago. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I just don't think it's the right scheme fit for that team. So if it doesn't go well here through the first 12 games and the Bears aren't look too hot, I do expect a coaching change for Chicago. Miami, without a quarterback out at second quarterback, they are just running thin, and it's not looking too promising for them. 24 through 21, Broncos move up with their win against the Bucks in Tampa, which was a shocking win. The Raiders losing at home to the Panthers, didn't really see that coming. Bengals losing and 0-3. That's pretty crazy to me. I mean, I don't know why that the Bengals are losing right now. They've started to play some good football. They scored 33 points against the Commanders, but just couldn't get it done. They didn't force a punt. So it's the defense to blame, not Joe Burrow and the offense. And then the Colts move up with their win over the Bears to get their first of the year. And I'm not like other sites where I overreact. The Bengals are still a very good football team, but them putting them at like 27, 28, they're definitely not one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. So, the Bengals respectively only dropped 2 spots. 20 through 17, and all these teams suffered a loss last week by a close margin. The Cardinals was the biggest by 7 points, but it's still a one possession game. And all these teams are at 1 and 2 as well. And if you look at the schedule, I would probably say the Giants and the Patriots are not must wins, but easier win games for the Niners and Cowboys, where the Cardinals got the Commanders, who are looking pretty good right now, and the Falcons play the Saints, who are coming off of a tough loss at home, and it's obviously a divisional game. So that's a huge game there for the Falcons. 16 through 13, and every team has a win here except those Saints that I just mentioned. They get Atlanta next week. Derek Carr and the offense just didn't show up in that one. Where the offense did show up for the Jets on Thursday Night Football against the Patriots, and especially the defense played well too. Next man up mentality is going good so far for the Jets. The Commanders, great win. Jaden Daniels looking like the real deal. Could he be this year's CJ Stroud from last year? And I think so. That offense is ready to go. And Dan Quinn is a great coach, defensive coach as well. And now that they got Cliff Kingsbury there in the offense, I'm sure that Dan Quinn said, "You handle the offense. I'll take the defense, be another set of eyes on the offense." And it's working so well for the Commanders right now. Then the Rams get their first win against the Niners in a shocking fashion. I didn't think they were going to come from behind and win that one, but they did. And that's why they're moving up 5 spots. 12 through 9. Ravens stay at 12 with their gritty win against the Cowboys, but they almost blew it at the end. So I couldn't really move them up that much, but they do stay at 12. The Bucks fall out of the top 5 and even the top 10 with their ugly loss to the Broncos at home. Maybe it was a little bit of a overreaction putting the Bucks that high at this point in the season. We'll find out this week. They play the Eagles, and obviously you haven't seen the Eagles yet. So if the Bucks can get a win there, they might be back in the top 5. My Packers move into the top 10 after a big win in Tennessee. Great game that I was at, and maybe the Titans traded the wrong quarterback. Malik Willis looked awesome in this game, and I get that, that he didn't play too well last year, but he didn't really have the same weapons that Will Levis does now this year. Better running game, better wide receiver core. And I don't know, something about it, but Malik Willis looks pretty good. And don't be surprised if teams are calling for Malik Willis to come trade deadline to maybe be the starter for the rest of the year if some teams are have an injured quarterback, like possibly Miami. Then the Texans, an ugly loss on the road in Minnesota. Unfortunately, it just didn't show up, but they definitely have a get right game this week against the Jaguars at home. 8 through 5, and the Chargers are the only team that suffered a loss this week, but they fall only to 8 with a tough loss to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. It was a good game, and the Chargers are still going to be a very good football team. We'll see this week against the Chiefs how good, because if they can respond after that loss and get a win, then this Chargers team is going to be jumping right back up into the top 5. Eagles, Lions, Steelers all get wins, and Eagles and Lions wasn't a pretty win, but a win is a win, and they're moving up because that, but they both get 2 games, 2 tough games this week. Seahawks, Bucks. Those teams aren't any layover, and so the Lions and Eagles, if they want to be those top teams in the NFC, they got to beat the top teams in the NFC as well. Then the Steelers, what they're doing right now, 3-0 with Justin Fields. I think that they have their start of the rest of the year. People are calling for Russ to be the next starter, but unfortunately, Russ, this team's winning without you. And Fields is doing just enough, and maybe they can develop him better than Chicago can to become their next franchise quarterback. Who knows? It's only week 3, so we'll have to see in the near future. And then you have the other 3-0 teams here, the last 4. And of course, you have the Chiefs and Bills still at 1-2. Vikings and Seahawks move up to 3-4 respectively because they're still undefeated. And the Vikings with the bigger win, so I put them ahead of the Seahawks and the Steelers, of course. And man, what Sam Darnold is doing for that Vikings team is something that Kirk Cousins hasn't done. 3-0 for the first time in 10 years, I think. It was before Kirk's time. That's the last time they were 3-0. Kirk never did that. Then the Seahawks, same thing for them, 3-0 under a new head coach. They're looking great. Defensive-minded head coach, and the offense is playing well. Even without Kenneth Walker the last 2 weeks, Zach Charbonnet has stepped in and looked great. And even Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's looking like the clear-cut wide receiver 2 over Tyler Lockett now, and they're starting to phase him out. Still great wide receiver trio, but Lockett and Smith-Njigba have swapped. It was what it seems like. Then the Bills, they don't care who's on the field, they'll go score. Especially James Cook, he's looking great these first 3 games. Potential best running back of the year right now through 3 weeks. Then the Chiefs finding ways to win without Pacheco. That was a big concern coming in this game, but Carson Steele is a hard runner, and he got some tough yardages when they needed him to. So I don't really see this Chiefs team losing a step. Yeah, maybe it won't be as good of a run game, but with Pirine and Steele, they're going to be very reliable. And then obviously, as long as Rashee Rice is out there, it's good luck for the Chiefs because if you start doubling Rashee Rice, that means Kelsey or Worthy is going to be on single coverage most of the time, and then that's just a whole nother nightmare. But let's see what Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers have to cook up in a good game this week against the Chargers, Chiefs. Gotta watch that one. But that's gonna be it from our Week 4 power rankings. Check back next week to see where your favorite team ranks. Until next time, the Bench Buddies are out.